got some samplers that will record in stereo and some other ones that will record in mono. I personally really enjoy stereo samplers, and today we're going to dive into why, or this is one of the benefits of sampling in stereo. I actually just was listening to a track yesterday, and when I paid attention to it, I realized how much information was on the left side versus the right side. Today, what I'm going to go ahead and do is sample this record and separate the left versus the right. Now, this record was recorded in the 70s, so back then they would do hard pans left and right. So it wasn't, in between. It was either dead center, left, or right, which is great because now that we're sampling, we can separate these tracks and almost have like multiple tracks separated. Now, before we do jump into it, I just want to remind you guys, if you guys are not subscribed to this YouTube channel and you do enjoy the content, do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We do a lot of sample-based music production on this channel, so make sure you guys tune in and stick around. So let's jump right into it. I do want to apologize for this top-down shot. I have it a little tilted for today's video, so just bear with me. So let's jump into our sampler, and right here in our sampler we have our inputs, which obviously we're going to record in stereo, which is inputs 1 and 2. I'm connecting this small cable. This cable is awesome. This is the cable I'm using to sample off of my iPhone today. And I'm just going into inputs 1 and 2. I'm going to hit ARM, and let's go ahead and get into it. That's awesome right there. Let's name this sample. Go to our editor. Now we are right here in our sample editor. And as you can see, you can actually see, you got your left and your right side, but in this track, you can actually see that the information from the left versus the right is completely different. So I hear on the right side all the organs, and then on the left side is all the plucking from the guitars and some drums, which is really interesting because I know I can separate these two and kind of have my own way while I'm creating a sequence. Now, the way I'm going to go ahead and do this separation, I'm going to just select the loop that I want to work with first. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to go to Shift 0 Snap just so I don't have no clicks or pops. That's actually a really cool way to get rid of clicks and pops. There you go. Just selecting the downbeat. Now I'm going to go to Process and Discard. I don't want the beginning of that. I just wanted to start where the downbeat is at. There it is. Now, to separate the left versus the right, I go to Process, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the very last option. The very last option is this cool option that we get to convert our stereo sample and separate it from your left side to the right side. So I'm going to go ahead and hit left first, and it's just going to relabel this sample 1. You guys can probably just name this. I mean, it's up to you. You guys can leave it as sample 1 or just name it sample left. Hit do it. Hit do it. And right here, it created sample left. Now, I'm going to go back to my original sample, which is just called sample. I'm going to hit process again. And instead of left, I'm going to go to right. And I'm going to name this sample right. Or I'm just going to put an R. Hit do it. Hit do it. So now we have our original sample, which is in stereo. We have our sample left, and we have our sample right. Now, let's hear what we were able to separate. This is sample left right here. That's hard. That's all the guitars. That's like anything that's percussive seems to be on the left side. Now we go to our right side, and this is the side that I really wanted to get. We should have our organ in this side and our bass. So I have not chopped this up. I just heard this yesterday, and I said, I got to do a video on this, and I'm actually working on this as we go, but that's crazy. I'm actually really excited for this because that right there, Don't even need drums on this. Like, there's some samples, there's some beats that I've heard, a lot of production from Vinny Paz that I hear, and some of my favorite beats from this artist don't even have drums. They're just a sample chopped up, very, very, very appealing, that I can listen to all day long. And this right here, just the organ section. I love it. I love it. So what I'm going to do with just the organ section, I'm going to go from trim to chop. I'm going to go ahead and manually chop this as I please. Awesome. So we got this right here. Awesome. So I'm going to go to Shift, Convert, hit Do It. Now we go to our main page, go to track number 2, name this organ. And right here, we should have our program that we just chopped up. Now I'm going to go back to our sample editor. And now from sample R, I'm going to go back to sample L, which sample L had our guitar, the drums. Awesome. Once we have that chopped up, convert that, and let's make that its own program. Awesome. So now we have on track 2 is mainly our guitar chops. And then track 2, we have our organ chops. With my organ program, I'm going to go to menu, into our program editor, drop it down at least 2 semitones, just to switch it up a little bit, and let's hear how that sounds. I really like how that sounds. Now, as you guys can see, I have not looked at no tempo. I've talked about this on another video, and I'm going to continue to talk about this whole tempo matching because I know, trust me, I know it's frustrating for some of you that are probably just getting started and it's like, man, I can't get this tempo to match. Like, again, I've not even mentioned tempo. I don't even know what the tempo is. I don't care about the tempo right now. I'm just vibing with my chops. I'm feeling all this. As now that I know I pitched it down -2 semitones, I'm going to come up with the tempo right now as I'm just freestyling these chops. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. As I'm doing this routine, I'm gonna hit tap tempo on every tap that I'm getting on the pads. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. It's giving me about 72 BPM. As you guys can see, as I'm tapping that tempo, it's changing in real time the BPM up here. So it's giving me 72.20. I mean, is this going to be right? I don't know. I'm going to just put it at 72.00. Hit do it. Now I'm going to hit the record button. I'm going to record, let's do a 4-bar loop. I'm going to make that into 4 bars. And it's going to be at 72 BPM. Is it going to be right? We'll find out right now, but it should be very close. Making sure it feels right. And yeah, 72 feels right to me. That feels really good to me. I don't, like the whole tempo thing, do not be afraid of it. Don't, like, I know it's frustrating at first, but as long as you're chopping up your samples. Now, this is not going to work for every sample. Most of the samples are recorded in 4/4 measure. So I'm able to chop it up into quarter notes or into 16th notes. And when I chop it up in good timing, which is just kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare. If I'm chopping my samples up in that format, I know it sounds very simple, I'm able to readjust my tempo, pitch it up, pitch it down. And as I'm hitting the kick, snare, chops, I'm pretty much building my own BPM. I will do a video later on specifically on that topic. If you guys want to know more about that, let me know down in the comments. But right now, we're going to go ahead and continue. If we jump into track 3, we have our guitars. Like, it's just kind of like the guitar plucks right here. And there is some percussion. There's like the drums on this one. But remember, we went -2 semitones on our organ sample. So right here, we also have to go -2 semitones. So it's matching up with the key. So if I hit play and I start hitting some of these guitar plucks, it should play in sync. So as you guys can hear, that's actually really cool. Now I have a guitar track right here that I can go ahead and play with, which is awesome. Well, I'm going to go a step further. I don't really want the drums right here. I just want the guitar. I noticed there's a little bit of drums in the tail. I don't want none of that. I'm going to go even further. I'm going to jump into my menu, program editor, and I'm going to go to my samples tab. And right here, I'm going to go into every like all these sample plucks right here of the guitars. I'm going to cut those down. I know it's just going to cut off pretty drastic. You see? It's just cutting off pretty drastic, which I don't like how that sounds. Well, now on the MPC, I don't know about any other samplers, but this is really cool on the MPC. We got this sample tail. Sample tail will allow you not to have that drastic, nasty cutoff. It just cuts off. If we add some sample tail, let's go to 300 milliseconds. Now it gives it a smooth cutoff tail. Now let's hear that. It sounds a lot more natural. That is so cool. I love those small little updates. Like, now I'm going to go on this guitar program and I'm going to add, let's put a low pass filter. Awesome. Grab that. Put some resonance. Let's see how this sounds actually in context with the organ. Like I mentioned before, there's some tracks where, yes, you put some bass, some drums, it goes all crazy, but there's once in a while where I hear a beat and it don't need anything else other than just a sample with a very beautiful sequence or the way it's chopped up, and let that thing play. Like, I enjoy most of my favorite beats are just samples by themselves. Now, in my personal opinion, I really enjoy how this sounds with no drums. It sounds really good. This is the type of track I would be okay with just exporting with a loop. Just the sample sounds so good, it's okay without drums. But I will add some drums just so we can have something with some drums on there. And again, this is the beauty of sampling in stereo when you have hard pans. You know, there is no drums on this organ track. I mean, there is drums, but you're not really hearing the direct drum sound. It's just like the reverb of the drums. So I can go ahead and play and have liberty to add any groove I want without it interfering with the sample drums. Let's go ahead and add that. I'm going to turn off quantize and let's see how this sounds. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop right here. The main thing that I wanted you to take away from this video was just the power of sampling in stereo. And not only the power of sampling in stereo, but also utilizing some of these tools that we get on these samplers to be able to separate the left and the right and be able to just get creative with these tracks that we're listening to. Now, if you reached to the end of this video, I just first of all want to say thank you for sticking around, and I hope you got something out of this. And also, let me know down in the comments some of your tools or techniques that you use when you listen to stereo music that give you that freedom, the left and right. For me, I love separating these tracks and seeing what we come up with. Sometimes there's awesome information, and some other times there is no information. So this is the beauty of sampling old records from like the 60s, the 70s. You get that separation. Again, guys, my camera is about to die right now, but I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And thank you so much. I'll catch y'all on our next video. Peace.